All right, welcome back everybody to the deep dive. We've got a really powerful one, I think, today.
Yeah.
This one comes from a listener request, Psalm 71, from the New Living Translation, actually.
Hey.
And we've done a lot of deep dives, and this one is one that I think a lot of people can connect with, no matter where they are in life.
Absolutely.
And it's, as always, our goal is to just kind of go through and unpack it, not just read it, but like try to get into the core feelings and the lasting truths, I guess.
Yeah.
And in this psalm, this one in particular is a really personal psalm.
It is very much a psalm of an individual.
It is. It's like this outpouring of dependence and trust, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's really neat how it's within the larger collection, the Book of Psalms, but when you look at 71 in particular, it really has a strong sense of an individual voice.
Yes.
Grappling with life, and I think that's what makes it so relatable and so powerful even today, thousands of years later.
Thousands of years later, yeah. And so we start out right away and we see these first four verses, verses 1 through 4.
Okay.
And what strikes me is this immediate, plea for protection, right?
Oh, yeah.
We hear the psalmist saying, "Don't let me be disgraced. Rescue me, save me. Be my rock of safety, my fortress where I can always find safety." It's like right away. This is a person who's in danger.
Well, and I think what's so interesting is that the psalm doesn't just come across as like a general cry for help. The plea is very specific. The psalmist specifically appeals to God's righteousness.
Yeah.
Like they say, you do what is right.
Yes.
And so that suggests that the psalmist truly believes that divine justice is on their side.
Yes.
Like their request is not merely selfish. It aligns with a moral order. It's like a really powerful foundation for the vulnerability that's being expressed.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, this idea of God being a rock of safety, a fortress.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just saying, God protect me. I mean, these are tangible things that you can imagine. I mean, a rock, the solid rock that you can't be moved from.
Absolutely.
Or this fortress that an enemy can't breach.
Yeah.
What do these metaphors, what do they tell us about the kind of security that the psalmist is actually seeking?
Well, they definitely speak to that deep human longing for invulnerability, especially when you are facing a threat, right?
Right.
Like a rock or a fortress offer not just shelter, but a sense of permanence and unwavering strength.
Oh, yes.
And so the psalmists, they're not just looking for temporary relief. They're seeking this foundational, unshakable security.
Yeah.
In the face of, well, the text says, the wicked and cruel oppressors.
Yeah.
So it's not just like vague fears. There are specific adversaries.
Yeah. And so this urgency that we hear in the very beginning then kind of leads us into this beautiful, I think, section in verses 5 through 8.
Okay.
Where the tone kind of shifts a little bit to this lifelong trust, right? We hear, "O Lord, you alone are my hope. I've trusted you, O Lord, from childhood." This is a powerful statement of enduring faith.
Yeah, I think that's one of those lines that just makes you kind of pause and wonder.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of life experiences would really forge such deep-seated trust, right?
Right, yeah.
Like, that's not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
And I love that it goes on to say, "From my mother's womb, you have cared for me."
Yes.
Like, that speaks to this really intimate connection. It's like a relationship that's been present from the very beginning of life.
Yes.
Just a continuous experience of being looked after and cared for.
And it explains, I think, the outpouring of praise
Yeah.
that follows, right? I mean, it's like this natural consequence of being cared for and protected your entire life.
Absolutely.
And we hear this, "No wonder I am always praising you." Like, it's almost like a natural response.
Yeah.
And then the psalmist even goes on to say, "My life has been an example to many."
That's so cool.
It's like their survival is a testament to God's faithfulness.
Right? Like their life story becomes evidence, a visible demonstration of God's protection.
It really does. And then in verse 8, it says, "That is why I can never stop praising you. I declare your glory all day long." And it's just this deep gratitude.
It's not just like a duty. It's an intrinsic response to this lifetime of perceived care.
Yeah. So life, as we know, throws curveballs.
Oh, yeah.
And we see that in verses 9 through 13, where the psalmist faces this stark reality of aging.
Okay.
And there's this vulnerability in the plea, and now in my old age, don't set me aside, don't abandon me when my strength is failing.
Right.
And I think this is something a lot of people can relate to no matter what they believe.
Absolutely. The psalm actually confronts those anxieties that often go unspoken, that are associated with growing older.
Yes.
The decline in physical abilities, the potential for loneliness, the feeling of becoming irrelevant.
Yes.
And it seems like those vulnerabilities are being actively exploited in this context. The enemies are described as whispering against me and plotting together to kill me. It's a very predatory image.
And they even say, God has abandoned him. Let's go get him, for no one will help him now. And that must be just a completely demoralizing feeling, right?
Absolutely. It's like you're not just physically weak, but seemingly abandoned by a higher power.
Yeah.
It taps into that very primal fear of being completely alone and defenseless.
Absolutely. And the psalmist in this moment cries out directly to God, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God, don't stay away. My God, please hurry to help me. And you can feel that desperation in the language.
You really can. It's very visceral.
It is. And there's also this desire for justice, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, where the psalmist is asking for their accusers to be met with, disgrace and destruction, to be humiliated and shamed. And it's raw. It's this really raw emotion. But, if you're feeling threatened and maligned.
I mean, it's a very human reaction.
Yes.
And I think it reveals how intense this situation is, how deep the desire is for vindication, for a restoration of balance, where wrongdoers are held accountable.
And then we move into verses 14 through 16. And despite all of this that we've just heard, there's this incredible resilience of hope, right?
Oh, yeah.
The psalmist says, but I will keep on hoping for your help. I will praise you more and more. It's like refusing to give in to despair. What fuels this kind of hope?
Well, I think it stems from that lifelong foundation of trust that we were talking about earlier. Like despite the present challenges, the psalmist has a history of perceived deliverance and care to draw upon.
Yeah.
Those past experiences really fuel this expectation that things can and will get better.
Yeah.
It's a conscious choice to focus on that past faithfulness rather than being consumed by those present difficulties.
Yeah.
And it's important to note that their hope is not passive, right? Like it leads to this renewed commitment to praise.
Yeah. And then we hear the psalmist say, I will tell everyone about your righteousness. All day long, I will proclaim your saving power. Right. It's like this intention to share God's goodness with everyone, even when, they even say, I don't know how to speak very well.
Yeah, it's almost like they acknowledge their limitations, but there's this powerful urge to share the experience.
Yeah. It's like the substance of the message is more important than the delivery.
Exactly. The truth of their experience is going to resonate no matter what.
And we see this continuing in verses 17 through 19, this idea of lifelong learning, right?
Yeah.
They say, oh, God, you have taught me from my earliest childhood, and I constantly tell others about the wonderful things you do. It's like this life lived in connection with the divine.
It really highlights the idea of a living testimony.
Yes.
It's like the psalmist's life itself has been a learning process.
Yeah.
Guided by their faith. And that learning naturally leads to sharing with others.
Yeah, and it's not just looking back, it's also looking forward, right? This plea to not be abandoned in old age so they can continue to pass on this knowledge and witness to God's power.
Right, to future generations.
Yeah. And then in verse 19, there's this huge declaration, who can compare with you, O God?
Yeah.
Like, there's no question.
Right. It's so powerful. It really underscores the psalmist's absolute conviction in the supremacy of the divine. It's like there's no other comparable source of help or security.
Yeah. And so finally, we reach the last few verses 20 through 24.
Okay.
And I think here we see this resilience, this expectation of restoration after much hardship.
Yeah.
And I love this line, you will restore me to life again and lift me up from the depths of the earth. It's so powerful. It's like this belief in complete renewal.
It really is. It's this profound statement of faith in God's ability to transform even in the darkest of circumstances.
Yeah, and even surpassing their previous state, right?
Yes, it's like a complete restoration,
And then the psalm ends with these vivid expressions of praise, right?
Yeah.
Music, singing, joy in the Holy One of Israel. It's just this joyful anticipation of deliverance.
Yeah, and those reasons that are given are so crucial. God's faithfulness and the fact that they have been ransomed, redeemed.
Yes.
It's that sense of being rescued from danger and brought into safety.
Yes. And then, finally, they reiterate this commitment to proclaim God's deeds.
Right, full circle.
Yeah, and the shaming of their enemies. And it's like the sense of resolution and vindication.
Yeah.
So when when we look at Psalm 71, it's just these incredible, like, human themes.
Oh, yeah.
This journey from immediate fear and needing safety to this deep-seated lifelong trust, this vulnerability that comes with aging, alongside this hope for renewal and purpose.
It's beautiful.
And then throughout it all, this thread of praise, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's reliance on something greater than yourself.
Yeah, it's striking how these ancient words still resonate.
Yeah.
I mean, you shared this psalm with us.
Yeah.
And it really brought us to a text that just speaks to these universal human experiences.
Yeah.
Facing adversity, seeking solace, finding strength in something beyond ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful reminder that those struggles, that search for hope, they're timeless.
They are. They are. And so it really makes you think.
It
Considering the psalmist's lifelong relationship with God, what are the things in your life?
Yeah.
What are the beliefs, the experiences that provide you with a sense of security and hope?
That's a great question.
In this unpredictable world that we live in.
It is.
That's something I think we can all think about.
Absolutely.
As we go about our day.
Yeah.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.